talk a little bit about Alex's interview. I think one of the most notable moments is where he talks about books being like little ants, and also he is very good at keeping on topic, but also being able to expand outward from that.
I don't think he was talking about books as ants. I think he was talking about the artists
The
as ants.
poet, the poets who write the books, and how the books and the poets are viewed are kind of like ants and ant ideas. They don't even seem human, and they don't have anything expansive besides their ant-like impulses.
Yeah. That interview was the longest interview I think until I did the three the cosmology interviews. And then I think it's now the third or fourth longest interview. I think I've had two or three interviews that have gone a little bit longer than the 2.5 hours. If I could go back and redo it, I would probably, let's see, it's in two parts. And this initially, I couldn't go past 2 hours with YouTube, and then I had a thing a little bit later on where I was doing a film noir show, and even though I hadn't done the interview yet, they this asshole company from Germany then made a fucking bullshit copyright claim on a film that was listed even on YouTube as being, and another person had uploaded it as being on YouTube and being in the public domain. And so that's why I created, well, I was going to create E-Cosmoetica, the educational channel, which these appear on, these interviews with you, because of that. And so for about 34 of the interviews, I had to go back and put them on E-Cosmoetica first. And so that's why I still have 30 or something interviews there. And then I got to be able to do 2 hours and 10 minutes. And now I think I've had 2.5 hour interviews that I don't have to break up. And so I may have up to 3 hours now on YouTube. I'm not certain. But Alex's one, I'm showing here with part one and part two. Let's see, was an hour 25. So it's 2 hours, about two and a half, a little over 2.5 hours. If I was going to do it again, I probably would have reined him in a bit more and probably gotten it under 2 hours, because there are times when I think he goes off a little bit. He repeats himself and has a little bit of dead air. But this was the first interview that I did, and it was about almost 2 months until I did the second interview. It was the biggest gap between interviews then, too. Um, uh,
You've since also gotten better at punctuating everything with ums and ahs and whatnot.
uh, you think I'm better? Seriously?
Slightly better. You still use whatnot as a frequent punctuation device, but the ums and ahs are not as bad. It's still
Eh.
very raw in your speech. You're not like Charlie Rose or David Susskind, who can speak very loquaciously, or at least Charlie Rose could
Well,
in his
it's
early days.
interesting because I've gotten actually, maybe over 100 emails by this point, and I'd say it's probably 90 to 10% that people like that in the interviews, which really surprised me because I do find it sometimes annoying myself, even though a number of my guests do it. It's just part of my, as I've aged, my natural speaking persona, and I think it's probably something that's New York based because growing up, I remembered old men who would sit around in their Bermuda shorts would do that and it made maybe just my inner New York coming out. But regardless, I probably would have.
Scientifically, it's supposed to also be a device used to move to the next natural idea. So it's a very common thing. I don't think it's just simply New York
Well,
based.
I do it because too. I sometimes have three or four things that go on in my mind, and I have to like throw two of them to the side, and then so. Uh, but yeah, Alex's interview is an excellent interview. Like I said, I probably now would be a bit more controlling and try to cut it down a little bit and not let him go on. But I was going through the format and whatnot. Initially, I also would send out syllabi to the people. I don't do that as much now. I do. I do. I know the format that I'm doing so well, and I know enough about the topics that I'm speaking on that I don't need to do that unless someone asks me. There's this fellow that I was just emailing yesterday to do a show about the multiverse. This guy who's in Europe, a young kid who wrote a book about it, and he was very anal and whatnot, and I'm like, yes, we can do it this way. I said, relax. I said, I've got this. I've done this. I'm not an idiot. I know how to interview. You're not, you know, I know how to ask the right questions if you're stuck on something. Um, and so I've gotten better as an interviewer, aside from the uhing and the umming. But Alex's one, like I said, would probably be closer to 2 hours if I did it again.
It's a good thing too, also to mention that your way of dealing with him is a little different because of your relationship with him. You know that you can push him on certain things, and that
Yeah,
he won't all of a sudden blow up.
yeah.
Um, whereas with the other ones, it seems like you're at the beginning you're kind of feeling them out for how they are as a person, and then just going with it afterwards.